Hello everybody and welcome to my next video. So as the title states and as you can see in the window right now, I'm going to be talking about SDL versus Allegro versus SFML. Now, if you search on the internet, this is a controversial topic. Everybody has their opinions on which one's better. They have specs and stuff like that, or which one's better. But from a game programmer that has used all three of these, I'm going to explain what I've thought of these three and my opinion on it and my view on it, and maybe it will change your view on what it is. But I will discuss often talked about topics that you'll see on the internet. Now, by the end of this video, you may not agree with me, but I'm going to be giving you some facts about them. So if you really want to, if you're not sure which one you should use, then this is a video that you should watch. Okay, so let us start off with SDL. Okay, SDL is made generally for the C language. You can use it with the C++ language. I've used it with the C++ language, but it was designed for the C language. The reason why SDL is a really good API is because it works really well. It works hand in hand with OpenGL. Okay? And for those of you who don't know what OpenGL is a 3D graphics library that allows you to handle graphics and such in your games, 3D graphics and such, and it gives you a 3D viewport, etc., etc. And then the SDL could handle input and other things that are required. Since OpenGL just handles graphics and graphics alone, SDL could handle your sound for you, handle your input, handle any other type of game element that you require, right? So that I'm gonna leave that there for now. I'm gonna go to Allegro right now. Well, Allegro out of the three is my favorite. I use Allegro 4 mainly, not Allegro 5, but I do use Allegro 4 mostly out of these three. The reason why I use Allegro more than these two is because of it's a mixture between easier and hard and the flexibility of Allegro. Now, with SDL, Allegro, and SFML, you can do the same things with each of the languages. It just depends on how you go about it, right? The syntax is different for the different APIs. There might be different header files you need to include and such, but each API has its own features. It just depends how you utilize them. Like, for example, Allegro 4 doesn't use PNG images, but SFML does. So, like, if you wanted to use, like, get transparent colors or whatever within your program, then you would have to change all the file types to BMPs or to bitmap file types, and whatever area is transparent, you'd have to make that transparent color magenta, and that could pose a problem why you might want to use SFML over Allegro. You know what I mean? It really depends on what features you're trying to look for. Like, for example, SDL has a cool built-in feature where you can set the color mask or set the transparency color you want. So if you don't want to work with magenta, then you can always change it. And Allegro and SFML have that feature too, but SDL, I believe, implements it better. So I'm going to be explaining more in depth about these later, but I'm just going to be telling you that I use Allegro more. I'm not trying to make this sound biased. I'm going to give a fair opinion, but if I ever sound biased towards Allegro, then you understand why. Now, SFML is a C++ based API. Allegro and SDL are C based, and SFML is C++ based. Now, SFML is has like an OpenGL wrapper as well, so it works hand in hand with OpenGL very well, just like SDL. But SFML is like a more, I would say, more advanced. The problem I have with SFML, and it's not a big problem, is that it seems too easy. And what I mean by that is this. Like some things, like such as screen scrolling or whatever, it handles that for you using viewports. You don't really have to know exactly how screen scrolling really works, because you can handle that using viewports in SFML. Also, SFML is missing a few features, I believe, that it's easy to work around, but I believe that it's missing like a few features that I would often like. But I really do like SFML as an API. I use it frequently, but it's not my first option when using a C++ 2D API. So SFML is really good. It's up to date. It supports classes. It supports object-oriented programming. It's entirely based on C++. So for any of those who are looking for strictly C++ type of APIs, then you're definitely going to want to work with SFML. So then I've told you a little bit about each three of them. So now to explain a bit of why I choose Allegro and so on and so forth. SDL is considered the hardest of the three. SDL is the hardest to get used to. There's a lot of things you have to include with it, but in the end, it's more flexible. SDL is the most, I would say, the most low level. It supports the most low level area in the API. You could change a lot of things, handle a lot of things on a lower level than you can with Allegro and SFML. So if you want like high optimization, you want to handle everything, all the specific things in your program, then I would definitely suggest SDL for you. And if you're planning to get into OpenGL, they have so many topics on the internet about SDL and OpenGL. So like if you really want to get into 3D programming eventually, then SDL is your best bet. Now for Allegro, it just my opinion is it's the best. It's the median. It's not too easy and it's not too hard. Allegro has a lot of built-in features that can have a game up and running in in like a minute or two, right? It has a lot of built-in features, a lot of cool things, especially Allegro 5. Allegro 5 has a lot of cool new features, new syntax, etc., etc. And Allegro 5 supports PNG files and events and so on and so forth. So Allegro is a good median. The downside is that it doesn't really work with OpenGL or anything that well. So if you're really trying to work with Allegro and OpenGL or something in the future, I wouldn't advise that. I would either use SFML or SDL. Lastly, for SFML, if you guys are like strict beginners or whatever, beginners to an API, or you just finished learning C++ and you wanna eventually get into 3D, but like you don't want it to be too hard, then I would suggest SFML. SFML, you'll get a program up and running. You'll learn about key programming topics right off the bat, like an event systems, learning about keyboard inputs, shapes, and all that stuff. And you'll be able to delve into the world of 3D very soon. Also, SFML out of the box supports networking and stuff like that. So if you ever want to make games over the network or over the internet or face people across the world, you want to have that feature in your games, then SFML is your best bet. So that's just my quick overview of the three. On my channel, I have Allegro and SFML tutorials. I don't really have SDL tutorials because SDL is kind of getting a bit older, kind of out of date. I probably will make a tutorial series on SDL, but I don't see myself doing that in the near future. But yeah, those are the overview of the three of them. They're all really good. I've used all three of them. They can all get the job done. Either one you want, they can all get the job done. If you're looking for 3D, your best bet is SFML or SDL. If you want more functionality, go to SDL. If you want an easier route, then I would choose SFML. So that is it for this video. I hope I kind of solved some of your questions. If you have any other questions regarding these three, then post in the comments below and I will answer your question, or you could post it on the community on my website. So this is it for this video. I hope you enjoy this, and bye.